Madness. Common. Network.
Woo!
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
my place, okay? I have in here who in the fuck I want.
Money comes big. Yeah. It's not small. No.
Kiss my entire...
Oh, my darling, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me.
Your coffee, sir.
Thanks, beautiful.
You're welcome.
This is a man's world.
Ow! What's up, everybody? The doctor is in. Good Lord have mercy. The coffee is good today. Hey, I meant to play this little stinger here before I jumped on camera. Let me see if I can tantalize your taste buds with this. You know, when your own trailer gets you all stoked for the book, yeah, a damn dirty thing. I will drop the link for the sign up here shortly. Over on Dark Gift Comics, if you just go to the Rampart imprint on darkgiftcomics.com, you'll find me there. That's my imprint, and you can sign up. When you sign up and later back the book, you will get a one-of-a-kind exclusive trading card made by my co-host, Tanner Hurley, and you will get a discount code for your next purchase. So, yeah. So, I've got a special guest today that I'm going to bring out here momentarily. This guy and I have been crossing paths in various chats and streams for about 1.5 years now. And this is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak to him. So I'm going to learn about him and his campaign live right along with you guys. So let's welcome my guest, Mr. Timothy Olsen. Welcome.
Welcome. Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you, buddy. Oh man, like I said, you know, we've been crossing paths forever and never got to stream together. So I'm glad to have you.
Oh yeah.
And he's got a book campaign live on Fun My Comic right now.
77% fun there. So you know,
yeah.
To that goal, you know.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a little bit closer to it today.
Yep.
But I know nothing about this. So before we talk about Melvin, though, let's talk about Timothy.
Right.
Timothy.
Yes.
Melvin 3, obviously the third installment, or is it fourth because there's a 0?
Oh yeah. So it's technically 4 books.
4 books.
Yeah.
All have successfully funded.
No, actually, the first one, I had to fund twice. I had to refund everybody because I promised too much. Make note of that, people who want to, crowdfund. Don't promise too much before you do it, because then you're on the risk of looking stupid.
But so was Melvin your first comic book writing endeavor?
Yes. So it's the first issue was kind of a run and gun kind of thing because I didn't have an editor, so we had a dialogue advisor, the Metal. And so it was kind of like my first foray into it. And then like after I only got like 33% funded on the second time.
Okay. All right.
So, but I still sent out books even though I didn't get fully funded.
Yeah.
And then the second issue just had to be 10 times better than the first issue. The first issue was fine, but the second issue had to be better than that.
All right. Fantastic. And Shadowhawk's all up in it. Welcome, Shadowhawk. Good to have you as always. So what made you decide that you had lost your mind and wanted to crowdfund a comic book?
I used to make comics all the time when I was a kid, but nobody else but me was into it.
Uh-huh.
People like buying comic books, but no one wanted to make comic books.
Right. So high school?
High school, anywhere from elementary through middle school through high school.
Yeah.
Melvin was actually created in the 90s when I was like starting middle school.
I got you.
Kid, there was Melvin the Teacher Slayer, and then it didn't go anywhere. So the character was buried for many years until I found out your boy Zach made Jawbreakers.
Uh-huh.
And then we can actually do that now. It's actually possible. You can actually make it look awesome.
Yeah,
so,
that light bulb goes off. I can do this.
So
you're the writer.
Right.
I would imagine though that if Melvin was born in junior high school, you were the first artist to draw Melvin.
Yes. I'm not very good, and I practiced for years. Trust me. I did. It's like, dude, this is not getting any better. I'd rather be the brains of the operation and hire out the talent.
Yeah. All right. Which brings us to, what the fuck is a Melvin?
Well, Melvin is like a shortened version of the name Melville. It's also a front wedgie, but where I got the name was Mad Magazine.
A front wedgie.
Gives you a front. I'm Melvin. That's the best way I've had it explained to me. But the name Melvin actually comes from the first issue of Mad Magazine when it was still a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Magazine had put out a card series with every single cover, and the one of the cards was the first issue, and it's like two parents are cowering in the corner, and one's like, "It's disgusting, it's hideous," and some kid's sitting there picking his nose. And you can see the sinister shadow, the sinister, whatever, some kind of ghoul or something, creeping up on them.
And that was Melvin.
That's the name. That's where the name Melvin came from.
All right, fantastic. So tell us about your book, Melvin. Your Melvin, and what's going on with him. Why in the world, in the whole universe, should we care about Melvin?
Because if you like characters that are full of action, and you don't want characters sitting around talking about stuff and eating, if you want something actually happening in your book, Melvin is the book where something's actually happening.
All right. So walk us through who Melvin is and what he's doing.
Melvin is a mercenary. He wasn't always a mercenary, but he became a mercenary when he was left for dead. And somebody, and much like gladiators were in ancient Rome, mercenaries are owned. Like they're either bought or found, and then they have an explosive and a tracking device injected into their neck.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So he's hired to save a princess from a dangerous cult, and the cult's much like kind of me ripping on the left. Either submit to our will or die, pretty much.
Right. Yep. Pretty much where we're at now. Yeah.
Anything is considered an offense.
Okay.
Like, for instance, they don't like how Alice dresses, so therefore she has to be sacrificed.
Okay.
So Melvin is hired because she decides to escape the hidden city, which, her existence is she's either in her room or in the courtyard, heavily guarded, because she's like the last in line to get the throne.
Okay.
And if she dies or something happens to her, then it's very much a power vacuum.
Right.
So Melvin is hired to save her from a dangerous cult. But what they don't know is that a lot of her friends are like children, a lot of her friends are children of royal guardsmen, right? Mm-hmm. So they're already getting trained, and so they decide to kind of hang out and train her stuff. So how to fight. So Melvin doesn't know that she can actually save herself. So he goes through all this trouble of fighting like beasts and cultists to find out that she already saved herself. In fact, she saves him from like these giant snakes.
Okay. All right.
First issue is very savage sort of Conan, pretty much.
All right.
There's an evolution there. It goes from the second issue is more sci-fi, and then the third issue is even more sci-fi fantasy.
I got you. Now, what inspired your particular flavor of comic writing? What comic
that's right. I listen to a lot of music when I write.
Uh-huh.
John Carter of Mars, so Edgar Rice Burroughs. I saw the
Right.
movie and then I got the book, and I love the book.
Yeah, the books are amazing.
And the movie was pretty good too.
It was all right. It was all right.
Oh, I'll ignore that.
Well, I mean, I wanted Tars to actually be the Tars from the books, but it was all right.
Yeah. It was a little more. I mean, if they went with exactly by the book, it wouldn't be a Disney film; it'd be a rated R movie.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I read the books first.
Yeah.
I think I was in junior high school, and I found Edgar Rice Burroughs. I read every damn thing he ever wrote,
Yeah.
and loved it. And you know, the reason you fall into it as a kid is you see the Frazetta cover on the book,
Yeah.
and you're snagged. All right, so you're inspired by some Edgar Rice Burroughs. What else?
Early Image comics, because when I came of age and I really liked comic books. I mean, there was comic books before. I had like a Star Wars comic book and whatever. But when I really realized I wanted to make comic books is when I got X-Force #1. So late 80s Marvel and then like early 90s Image, where it was like, go big or go home.
Yeah. And which writers were doing it for you back then?
Well, the one that everybody seems to love and hate at the same time, Rob Liefeld.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, TJ. Good to see you here. Welcome.
What else? Pretty much like I also liked the early run, the first run of Wildcats.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think they wrote themselves into a corner eventually.
I never read it, so I wouldn't know.
Well, they went from like they're fighting a war against the Daemonites to they went back to their homeworld and found out the war had been over for centuries. And then it's like, where do you go from there? It's like the whole point of that they were fighting a war, and then all of a sudden they're not. Right. But it's still good.
And you now the first thing you responded with though, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm a retired counselor, so I pick up on shit.
Uh-huh.
The first thing you said when I asked you about your influences was I listened to a lot of music.
Oh yeah, like hardcore punk and some metal. It depends what I'm in the mood for.
Okay, but that was an influence on Melvin?
Yeah, that's an influence on a lot of things that I do.
Okay, all right. Now, what do you call metal? Because my definition of metal is not the same as your generation's definition of metal.
I guess anything from like going back to like maybe Danzig, Metallica, all the way to probably Slipknot.
Okay, all right, right on.
Some Slipknot. I'm very picky with the metal I listen to.
Me too. Mine is the first generation metal. You know, Sabbath, Dio, Iron Maiden.
Oh, I do like some Dio.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to like? It's Dio.
Yeah,
come on, you know. Ozzy, of course.
Crazy
Godfather
Train
of metal. Yeah. Randy Rhoads, rest in peace, the greatest guitar player that ever lived.
Oh, maybe stuff like Pantera too. I've been listening to a lot of Pantera lately.
Yeah. But I'm kind of with that, Timothy, because I immerse when I'm writing and drawing. I immerse. So for Pariah, there's a playlist that I keep going through those songs. For excuse me, for A Damn Dirty Thing, I keep noir jazz playing in the background the whole time.
Huh.
You know, so I immerse while I'm creating. Yeah. So Melvin goes on this adventure to rescue, what was her name? Alice.
Yeah.
Alice, who doesn't need rescuing.
Yeah.
And
so
where do we find ourselves in book 3?
Book 3. Well, book 3 we find they're being tracked by bounty hunters, because if you read issue 2, there's a scene where the cult leader wants Alice for himself. He's supposed to have her sacrificed, but he has other motives. I'm actually working on a story that explains why. But yeah, he wants Melvin dead and Alice for himself. So these two bounty hunters are chasing them. We get to find out that Melvin, and I'm going to spoil this because a wise man says sometimes you need to spoil things and kind of like grab people's attention. We find out Melvin can regenerate because he's firing at these two bounty hunters. He kills one, and he gets his head blown off. Which she's flying the ship, right? And his whole time his head's growing back, and she's trying to talk to him, but she's hearing nothing. But she's where it focuses more on flying.
Yeah. And meanwhile, he's back there with no head, but it's growing back.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask you though. Now, you said, I'm the brains behind the outfit. I write it and I hire out. So tell me about your art team.
Well, Melvin 0 is drawn by Rob Ewing. Melvin 3 was drawn by Sid Teles. I think it's Teles. It's Teles, and I feel like I'm always saying it wrong.
Okay. And that's the pencils and inks.
Sid does pencils, but Rob does pencils and inks. The inks for Melvin 3 and the coloring for the cover is done by Rick Piper.
Rick Piper, our friend Rick Piper of the Canadian Shield.
Hell yeah.
Rick Piper's good people. If you don't know him, you should definitely go check him out. He makes good comic books too.
Yeah.
And by the way, a big inspiration on our friend John Dillard and the Buckler.
Yeah.
So if you know John Dillard, then you kind of sort of already know our boy Rick Piper.
Well, I mean, they're such good, they're good friends. They're such polar opposites, but
yes,
I find that very interesting how they're such good friends.
They exactly they are good friends and they are very different people. But John Dillard's a good guy. He just likes to put on a crusty shell.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell. He puts up a front.
Yeah, we know you're lying, John, is what we're saying. You're
Yeah.
fake, John Dillard. Calling you out.
You're a poser.
You're actually a nice guy, and we all know it. Yeah. So let's bring up the campaign and take a look here.
All right. Let me switch over. Whoopsie. There we go.
All right. You walk us through this.
All right. So you want me to, there we are right there. 77%, $383.
Yeah, let's play the trailer before we do anything.
All right.
else.
Oh, did I share? Oh, dang it. Hold on. Let me, I always forget to do this, and this is my fault.
Oh.
I have to share the audio.
Share audio. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my bad.
No worries.
Okay. Audio tab. Okay. Bam.
And here we go. Make sure you got your volume turned up. Timothy? I think Timothy froze. No audio, Timothy. Check your volume. Nothing but the most professional of publication and production quality here on the coffee shop. It's okay, buddy. It happens to me all the time. Yeah. I don't know a streamer anywhere that doesn't run into these issues.
All right. So you didn't get that.
Uh-uh.
And it said audio tab. Damn it. So I don't know what's wrong with that.
All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. Let's just look at the campaign and we'll come back to the trailer.
Sure. That's all. It's only music.
We'll
playing, so.
circle back to that. We'll circle back to that.
that. Damn audio difficulties. Anyway, so here's the cover to Melvin 0. And as you can see, there's
you're not sharing screen with me.
Oh, dang, nabbit. Bullocks. Hold on.
And Shadowhawk says, when you have the opportunity, if you could check what he backed.
Oh, I will. Thank you. That's
right. Shadowhawk, we can't all have Rex's choppy ass theater, but we make up for it by having complete ineptitude.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, so walk us through the campaign.
Okay. So I always offer a digital tier because, Larry Higgins of Niobe Comics said if you don't have a digital tier, you're walking away with money. You're leaving you're not walking away. You're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, right.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And of course, here's the physical copy because at the time, keep in mind, I didn't know you could do add-ons. I think you couldn't do add-ons.
Right.
I think they have some similar to add-ons. So
wait, slow down. Let's take a look at this cover now. This is the cover to 0, right?
Oh yeah,
on the left-hand side. Scroll up so we can see that whole thing.
Yep. Sorry, I'm going a mile a minute. Damn coffee.
Yeah. Relax, Timothy. We got this.
All right.
So first of all, is that our boy Melvin on the cover?
Yep, that's Melvin right there.
All right, so Melvin's green.
Well, actually, he's supposed to be yellow. It's kind of a yellow green.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
It still works. It kind of reminds me of when they did the Batman animated series comic book adaptation.
Mm-hmm,
You know, the colors seem to be a little bit flat for the comic
yeah,
book.
yeah. But this art looks great. Who was the cover artist here?
Rob Ewing.
Rob Ewing. That's good looking art, man.
Yep.
Go ahead, scroll on, scroll on. Let's see what we got.
That right there, the candle holders are my favorite part of the. Like one's made out of guns and the other one's made out of like skulls and spines.
Very cool. Very
Very
cool.
very metal.
Yes.
And right there, there's the just the book.
Mm-hmm. So what does it cost a fellow to get this book, and how many pages are in it?
It's
$10 plus shipping.
Yep.
And how many pages?
It's about 27 pages.
Okay. All
So
right.
there's gonna be room for ads.
Yeah. 27 pages is a good page count for $10.
And then here's the pages from Melvin Zero right there.
Okay.
This is my favorite page right here. He realizes the bar wench isn't talking to him anymore because he was telling the story of how he became a mercenary. He looked over his shoulder and like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to kill this guy. He opens up that suitcase he has. He's like putting together this gun very casually. And this other bar wench is like, what are you doing? What's that right there? And then he turns around and shoots the target in the head.
Yeah, there you go. Because that's what happens.
That's what he's here. That's what he's actually there for.
Yeah.
Now there's another tier for both Melvin issue 1 and 2. That's a digital.
So $10 for both.
Yeah, and somebody requested it, so I decided to put one in there.
Very cool. Very cool.
I like making people happy.
Yes.
Now this is the page where I had to explain how he got the shield. Because like there was an alt cover for Melvin 1 where Sherwin gave him a shield, and I'm like, okay, well I need an alt cover, and it's like 2 years prior to the first issue they drew it. So I used it, and so Melvin had a shield from then on. So
okay, all right, cool.
In this case, they just found it underneath when they found him almost dead. They found it like hidden under. They ransacked his house and found it underneath some floorboards.
Okay.
There's of course Melvin Zero. $10 plus shipping because keeping everything low enough.
What's up, Yucky? Yucky got to come in and throw some grief.
Well, God bless him.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Yucky without some grief.
Yeah.
The Yuckster.
And of course, this is the Gable Penny Shot special. He was telling me I need to have, because I had originally a combo pack for Melvin 1 and 2, but people already have that from the last campaign. So 3 and 0 seem to be like a better idea for a combo pack.
There you go.
So
the Gable Penny Shot.
Yeah.
Good old Gabe.
Yeah, he means well.
Now, so the pages we're looking at, who's the artist on those?
That's still Rob Ewing.
Rob Ewing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I just love looking at that page right there.
That's a good looking page, man. That's good art.
He just gets the gun by ripping the arm off this corpse of this guy tried to
Yeah. He's definitely got some savage Conan with a rifle.
Yep. Okay, we saw that one. And then this was because at the time there was no add-ons. They hadn't really put that in yet, so I made a merch pack. But what I added on was like you could get a digital copy of like Melvin 0 through 3. One has to be one, but it's like one of your choosing.
Right.
So you can.
I got you. And I like that. I like that merch pack. As a matter of fact, go back to that merch pack. Tell us what's in it.
Oh, yes. My bad. Getting ahead of myself. There's a button, sticker, a water bottle, and a spiral notebook.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. Actually, that's like because I wanted to look like a Star Wars movie poster.
Excuse me. I like that. So the cover artist on this one is who?
Is Sid
Okay.
Telis, and then it's inked and colored by Rick Piper.
All right.
Yep.
Our good friend Rick Piper.
Yep. And of course, you can get all 3 issues. and because somebody brought, and or you can get all 4 issues.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that'd be a good fit for a full display. There you go, something for everybody.
I think you should make that as a colored poster.
That would be kind of cool.
Get with my friend Anthony Romano and see about getting a tapestry made. They're like posters that don't tear.
There you go. I'll have to chat him up, see what his.
Yeah, yeah.
I got kind of a full plate right now, so.
Oh, sure. And of course, dedicated to our friend Andy A.
Yeah.
Who we lost earlier this year. Andy A. One hell of a good guy. We were talking about him backstage.
Yep. It's
Just
unfortunate that he had this story about toy box tales, and
Yeah.
they'll never see any of those that worked there.
Yeah, first of all, it was good work. Secondly, the dude was a machine of an artist.
Yeah.
And just a really all around nice guy. He just wanted to have a good time and laugh.
Exactly. He
wasn't a mean bone in his body. Even when he was ribbing you, it was just fun.
Oh yeah. If he wasn't giving you shit, he didn't like you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So we had to go with this guy SK for the lettering, which we're almost done. We're up to I think we're up to page 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I thought this was kind of laying around. I wanted to do something with this and have it be like the inner back cover. Like if you wanted to, for whatever reason, cut these out, and you could have like cards, which I don't know if you had the G.I. Joe cards back in the 90s, but they made a card series, and so I wanted to kind of look. You got Melvin, you got Alice, and you got the villain from issue 2, which is Moldark.
Okay, all right.
And then you got these sketch cards at the bottom.
Nice. So sketch cards are available
For the inner back cover if you want to cut your back cover up.
So buy 2 so you can mangle one.
Yeah, exactly. And then I wanted to make the kind of when I started out, I wanted to make it kind of like a Star Wars kind of, So I actually downloaded the font for Star Wars, some kind of Star Wars font.
Nice.
It's 27 pages of epic sci-fi adventure.
Right.
And then will Melvin and Alice manage to reach the safety of the hidden city of Trig, which actually in Scandinavian, I don't know which Scandinavian culture means safe. Or will they fall into the hands of 2 relentless bounty hunters? Melvin is faced with a tough choice whether to pursue wealth or embrace his destiny as a hero. Meanwhile, Alice must face the consequences of her own choices as she embarks on a journey to fight for what she believes in.
Right on.
There you go.
That looks great. That looks really good.
Honestly, for the longest time, I forgot to change that last part about the lettering.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing a stream, it was still credited as lettered by Andy A. So I had to change that. And it kind of bummed that. I was thinking right here, this picture right here.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking if I reached my goal of making that into a card or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be very cool. Oh, there he is regenerating.
Yep. Everybody loves this part. It's the grossest part of the book, but everyone talks about how gross it is and how awesome it is.
And that's when his head's been blown off and it's growing back.
Yep. You can see. The best part is if you look at that little hole right there, you can see the brains.
Yeah. Now they're in the cockpit together.
Well, he's manning there's a gun, kind of like if you see other pages, you see there's a gun going out of the back of the ship. So he's manning that one while she's flying.
Okay. So she's unaware he's back there headless and growing his head back.
Exactly. So that's why when they actually get to like there's this hidden hangar bay that's kind of coming out of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
When they kind of come in a little too hot, but they have this safety foam, which was inspired by that safety foam from Demolition Man. Remember that came out of the car?
Yep.
They're encased in it. So I thought, what if the ship came into a hangar bay too hot and this guy just,
Yeah.
So she got mad at him because he hadn't responded because she didn't know he didn't have a head. He didn't say anything. And of course, there's a tracking device. So kind of, a la, New Hope.
Right, right.
Yeah. And of course, I wanted to conclude that whole like tension thing, will they, won't they?
Yeah, yep, yep, yep. That's Sam and Diane.
Yeah. And of course, we got, the
Oh, that's
king, which is King Goodwinson, and then of course her best friend Diana, which was a name put on the coat, and everyone kept asking, "Well, who's Diana?" If that's Alice, and so I had to kind of like maybe she stole her identity and her and her friends snuck out,
That's beautiful art though.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
And at the time, Gina Carano did get kicked off Mandalorian, and I thought that was a little unfair for her point of view.
Sure, it was.
So I thought, well, she'll always be in my comic book. That way, she's always in pop culture,
Now, what the hell are we looking at here? Because these guys are very cool looking.
Oh, there's a 5-page bonus story in Melvin 3 called Zed and Odysseus.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about the worst neighbor we ever had. I thought, what if you got stuck forever with the neighbor you hated the most?
Okay.
So these guys are like minding their own business, and gray aliens do things because they're bored, not because they're any grand design or any reason.
Uh-huh.
So they go to Earth and they take their brains, and then they stick them in robot bodies to do whatever they want. Like,
okay, all right.
they do like kind of a la Clockwork Orange, kind of torment them with happy images, sad images, and tasteful nudes.
Okay, and this is totally different art. Who's the artist on this?
This is again Rob Ewing, and this is it goes from serious sci-fi fantasy to a comedy, pretty much.
Yeah. I like it. I like this a lot.
You see how his eyes are being forced open, kind of like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
And then of course Odysseus gets his brain put in his robot body. And he starts laughing at their photos. So Robo Rick decides to throw them into the used probe room. And then eventually I'll do a full length Zed and Odysseus, maybe where they escape the ship or something.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like it.
And then we go into the pages of Melvin 3.
Okay, all right.
Okay, there's the they've been spotted by the 2 bounty hunters, and they're giving chase.
Mm-hmm.
Like a big chunk of the book is actually just one long chase scene, really.
Yeah, that's cool. The poor bastards in the back with his head blown off.
Yeah.
Why didn't you answer me? I didn't have a mouth.
And of course, there's a page before this where he thinks that she's in danger, so he, gun drawn, he comes in and she's actually taking a shower. She just finished taking a shower. So
Right.
There you go.
Got a little lovey-dovey there.
Yep. And of course, if you back my campaign and Rogue the American Dream, you get a free 6x9 print.
Okay. Now, who is Rogue the American Dream? Who is that?
That's done by. I always get. Let's see if I can. I have to.
Well, now but I mean, it's somebody because you've got a shared print.
Yeah,
here.
well, he kind of approached me. It was David. I don't know his last name, but
Okay.
But yeah, it's an interesting book, and I kind of like it.
All right, Rogue the American Dream. Yeah. I'll have to check that out too.
Yeah, there's a cover of that's on there that I actually think is the best cover.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and he uses a model to a cosplayer to actually I guess model the look.
Well, yeah, she's jacked. Now we did a crossover print also. John Dillard did it for us on the Pariah campaign.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it turned out great, and it did get some backers. So yeah, good idea.
Yeah. And so the lettering is actually being done right now, but actually Melvin 0 we haven't gotten to that yet, but once Melvin 3 is done, we'll go on to lettering Melvin 0.
Right. All right. Looks good. This is Melvin 3, currently live on Fund My Comic. Hey, Christian, good to see you.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. Christian Zaffo hanging out with us. TJ, a work in progress.
Still waiting for Tim to model the cosplay cover himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, ain't happening.
TJ is a puppet maker and puppeteer. And TJ, I still kind of want to get with you because I think there's a puppet I want to have made of my golem. Shadowhawk hanging out, Yucky Gum hanging out. Personally,
Yeah.
I think all gum is yucky, but that's just me.
I don't know. I don't think I want to. I don't want to expose people to this horror. I mean, this is done because it's the requirement for the show. I do apologize ahead of time.
So what we really want is a couple of things here.
Just back it already.
I love that. I love that too. Just watching all that money.
Yes, yes. Look, man, if you can't get excited by some Casey and the Sunshine Band, there's something fundamentally wrong with you.
I just like the sight of money falling.
Yeah, well, that money's flying up.
Oh.
I couldn't get it to play backwards and come down. I don't know why. My video editor just said, I don't think so, Scooter. So I'm going to play a little something for you guys while we take a coffee break here and then come back and wrap up. This is over on my channel. I've got 2 installments of Doc's mostly, absolutely, positively, sort of true stories. This is the one about why I joined the Navy and how I learned to swim, written and illustrated by yours truly. Hi, kids. It's your old pal Doc with another mostly, absolutely, partially true story. Today I'm going to tell you about how I overcame my fear of heights and water and learned to swim. So back in high school, I met this girl. She was sweet, she was kind of cute, and she had other wonderful characteristics. To this day, I don't know what color her eyes were. We did all the stupid teenager dating things, and I got to explore her wonderful characteristics. We decided to get married like a couple of idiots, but I had no real job, no money, no opportunities. Like I said, idiot. Anyway, this was during the Cold War, and I was a patriotic kind of guy, which got me to thinking about the military. So I went downtown and met with a Navy recruiter. Why, Navy? His was the only office open. The Marine Corps, Air Force, and Army were out to lunch. Dude was a chief petty officer, and in his dress whites, he looked like how you'd think God might have looked if he ever enlisted. He told me about the money and benefits for me and a young wife. I expressed my concerns about not being able to swim, and he said, forget about it, the Navy will teach you. So just like that, I signed up. So me and her got married in a quickie ceremony. I had a quickie honeymoon, consisting of a lot of quickies, and off I went to the airport to catch a flight from Atlanta to San Diego. I was scared shitless of heights, and unless I became an astronaut, this plane was going to take me up higher than anything on Earth. What was I thinking? Oh yeah. Plane takes off and I start chain smoking my Salem Light 100s. Honestly, it was kind of fun and I was sort of enjoying the flight, in spite of feeling like I would puke, piss, shit, and pass out all at the same time. Anyway, I get to boot camp and boot camp stuff happens. Heads get shaved, uniforms issued, lots of marching, training, screaming, and the ever-present odor of foot and ass one finds in barracks anywhere in the world. After a while, though, I started to feel like I would actually make it. Then it happened. The day came for us to go to our first survival at sea training. We go inside this big-ass building containing the biggest pool I'd ever seen. Chlorine burned my eyes. I was not crying, and every sound was amplified and echoed forever. Our swim instructor popped up out of the water and spit a fish out of his mouth and said, I'm your instructor, Chief Petty Officer Dick Grande, U.S. Navy SEAL. The most important thing you gotta know today is that it is impossible for you to die in my pool, so don't piss yourselves, ladies. He then asked if there were any non-swimmers. A non-swimmer in the Navy is the equivalent of being a dirty commie. I sheepishly raised my hand. I was embarrassed, but I also wanted to live through this long-anticipated and dreaded day. He took us to the shallow end of the pool and instructed us on how to float. Lay back, eyes open, lungs full at first, and relax. You'll float. I laid back with my eyes open, my lungs full of air, and I tried to relax as I sank like a rock. I'm doomed. I expressed my anxiety to the SEAL, who told me I would be fine. Even if I drowned, the Navy would bring me back to life and then make me repeat the drowning again and again until I became a swimmer. My confidence soared. He then pointed to a skyscraper that he called the diving platform, and my heart and my wiener shrunk 5 sizes instantly. He told us to climb to the top, wait for his command, cover our noses and mouths with one hand and our giblets with the other, and then step off and let gravity take charge. A nervous fart escaped my sphincter as I climbed Mount Everest. Sorry, fellas. Eventually my turn came. Little chubby Filipino kid stood next to me, and the SEAL gave the order to go. The Filipino stepped off and vanished into the distance, never to be seen by me again. I tried to go too. I just stood there making twitching motions like an idiot. The SEAL bellowed up to me, "Get off my tower or I will erase you." Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but his threat and my unending love got me to jump. I fell for about half an hour, reciting the 23rd Psalm a good 30 times, and then hit the water. I pushed off the bottom with all my might and broke the surface. Help, I can't shit. I mean, swim. But the instructor saw my panic, and he was right there. "Open your eyes," he said. And just like that, I was treading water. I went on to swim the 2 laps and passed my first survival at sea, and did it for my country, patriotism, and, well, you know. The moral of the story, kids, is this. With a proper incentive, you can do anything you put your mind to. So until next time, this is your old pal, Doc. Take care.
Yay.
Mostly, absolutely, positively true story.
Just take his
Why
word
am I
for it.
so thin there? Because I was thin back then. When I actually joined boot camp, I was 6'2" and 150 pounds. I was skin and bones.
What the hell happened?
When I graduated, I was 210 pounds of muscle. And when you're in boot camp, Timothy, there are no mirrors. You have no idea what you look like. On graduation day, the quarterdeck is filled with these 6-foot tall mirrors so you can make sure your uniform's perfect. Came out of the shower and saw myself, and I went, "Holy shit!" And
Who the hell's that guy?
I stayed that way for a while, and then I became a counselor where your life is sitting on your ass listening to people. Yeah, I enjoyed that much more than jogging and working out, so I stuck with it. It takes dedication
Yeah.
to get a body like this, boys and girls.
Sit on your ass. That's the American dream.
It is. It is. Oh my God! So yeah, that's an absolutely true story, by the way.
Yeah. Oh,
I did all that for the love of some big boobs.
yeah. If you want to see, like I said, the villains are based on how I feel about the left, right? Funny how I said that. Anyway, so like Melvin's fighting the cult.
Antifa?
Yeah. Well, the cult in the issue 2, they're all wearing black hoods and destroying a town, because the premise is to get the parts they need to fix their ship, they have to liberate the town from the cult, and all the henchmen, all the grunts are wearing black masks. So
as they do.
Yes. So it's kind of my F you to Antifa,
Yeah. Now, our friend Billy Powermax is doing a anti-SJW book.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, and Stephen B is drawing it for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. My FU to that side of the aisle is producing just really good stories.
Oh yeah,
that are traditional stuff that would have been around when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, you feel powerless to do anything, so what can you do? Write about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I'm old and cancel proof.
Yeah.
I'm retired, so you can't take my career away from me. My house is paid for. There's nothing you can do about that. I'm cancel proof. So
Yeah.
Fuck you, leftists.
Well, that and people need to stop giving a shit when they say stuff like, stop catering to these people and caring about what they're saying, because they'll be unhappy no matter what you do.
Yeah. And, our good friend John Dillard says, and I quote, some people talk like they wouldn't get popped in the mouth.
Right.
But that's John Dillard saying that, not me.
God bless him.
Just having a laugh here. Just having a laugh. So I want to thank Timothy for coming out and talking about Melvin. I've actually been curious about it since the day you started talking about it, way back in the day. A year and a half ago when I first met him.
Yeah.
And this is our first time talking, so it was a pleasure to meet you.
Yep. I'm a promoting machine, as you can tell. I mean, I get like when I campaign, I get like 4 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah. Thank God I have a publisher and friends who will help with promotion, because I can shill for other people, but for whatever reason I can't shill for myself. I suck at it.
Well, I was homeless for 5 years, Bremerton, Washington, and so what I do, instead of like begging for money, I draw. I had I think it was a Kindle Fire, and whatever Wi-Fi I was hooked up to, I'd find pictures of stuff like at the time Pokemon Go was pretty popular.
Right.
And I'd draw all morning, and then I'd work. I'd sell artwork until like 11 o'clock at night. I'd sell artwork for $1, because people don't mind parting with $1. They don't care.
Right.
So,
and I'm sorry you went through that, but I'm glad to see you back on your feet again.
Oh yeah. That was like 7 years ago.
Yeah. Life can be a little rough sometimes.
But I that's where I learned, how to promote yourself and get yourself out there.
I'm just not, Timothy, I'm not that guy who is shy about anything.
Right.
Like, I'll show my art. I'll talk about my art. I'll talk about my writing. I have no problem with that. But when it comes time to say, back my project, something in my brain goes, I just don't feel comfortable doing that.
No.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else ever goes through that, but true story, I'm a fine art painter. Hey, Fanta.
Yo, Fanta.
I'm a fine art painter, impressionist landscape painter.
Cool.
And my very first solo exhibition at a major gallery came up. This was years and years and years ago, like 30 years ago. No one knew what I looked like, so I hired someone to be me, to dress up and go drink champagne and eat hors d'oeuvres and stand around and talk about art with people and shill my stuff for me.
Wow.
Because I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
I guess the mentality is that you should go, I have to sell this. I have to get this out there or I die. It's either,
Yeah, well, see,
kill or be killed.
The problem with that is I'd rather die.
Oh.
But the guy I hired, his name was I shouldn't say his name. Anyway, he was a friend of mine. He loved it. He had no problem with it. He said, man, those people thought I was you. I'm out there talking. I'd given him some talking points on what to say. It just is. Yeah. See, TJ says it too. I struggle with the money making side of stuff. And I can shill for other people. I just can't shill for myself.
I guess to summarize it, it's Pantera talks about their first tour where they're getting successful, and they called it the Kill or Be Killed tour. That's what I think. That's the mentality I have when it comes to shilling promoting my stuff. It's kill or be killed.
Yeah, I remember early on in the early 70s, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley were talking about Kiss, and they said, in our minds, whether we were playing a club or playing to 10 people in a one-room gig, it was always Madison Square Garden in our minds.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a good way to approach things. As an artist, I always think, this is going to hang in the Louvre, or my book's going to be the #1 best-selling book of all time.
Yeah.
To approach your work that way. Hey, Quentin, what's up, buddy?
The Misfits back in the day weren't a huge band, but like 30 plus years later, they've sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, we're going to wrap this one up. Again, I want to thank Timothy for coming out and allowing me to pick his brain a little bit. Sketchpad, what's up? What's up? You guys are late. You're late, Sketch. Of course you're late. You're Army. Why wouldn't you be late?
Shame on you.
All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be sure you subscribe to Doc's Coffee Shop at Doc Blalock over on YouTube. I'm the only Doc Blalock on YouTube. You can find me. Be sure you get over and back Melvin 3 live on Fund My Comic right now. And remember, you've been watching the podcast that won't rust, bust, collect dust, kink, stink, turn pink, or rattle at the seams of rainy season for 90 days, or your money gladly refunded. And on that note, let me just. I'm stumbling. We're going to play ourselves out of here.
The Civil War was America's bloodiest conflict. Over 500,000 died to preserve national unity. When the war ended, Confederates like Harley Brogdon headed west, shooting game for the Army and gambling. When a card game turns deadly, Harley shoots in self-defense, killing the card sharp who threw down first. Wilfred Knorr, the card sharp's wealthy father, will stop at nothing to see Harley hang. Harley flees to Cobb's Gap, an old silver mining town at the foot of the Rockies. A remarkably peaceful town, especially after dark. But the sheriff harbors a dark secret, and no one dares go into the mines anymore. Cobb's Gap is full of secrets. People speak in hushed tones of something in the mine. Something worse than their cursed sheriff. Something even the Indians fear from the deepest pits of hell. Every secret will be exposed. Bronze Star. Order your copy at bronzestarcomic.com.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the... where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands are